Hello followers and welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial. This is episode number 75, and in today's episode, yes, it's finally happening. We're going to be going to the end and killing the Enderdragon. So this is kind of overdue. It's been a while, been a long time coming certainly. So yep, in today's episode we will be heading down to the stronghold and then going through the portal to the end realm and fighting the Enderdragon, and hopefully we can come away with a victory. So the first thing that we're going to do today is I'm going to explain to you what equipment you really need to bring to the end with you, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit while we're on the way over to the stronghold about the end and the Enderdragon. Then we're going to go there and we're going to fight the Enderdragon. Now, a couple of things to consider. If you want to, then you can follow along. There will be a link down below so that you can download this world and you can play in my shoes. Download episode number 74 if you want a practice shot at fighting the Enderdragon. You can do that with my last episode's world save. Just head over to the stronghold and you'll have all the equipment that I have, everything in the ender chest and so forth. So you can go ahead and then do whatever you fancy with that. So also down below will be a link to the Enderman, Enderdragon and End Realm page. So if you want to know more facts and information about any of those three things, then you can do so down below. So I guess now, without further ado, we should start talking about what equipment we need to bring with us. So the first thing that you're going to need is to bring 12 Eyes of Ender with you. Now I know for a fact that there is one Eye of Ender already plugged in, so we only need 11. Instead of 12, but if you're unsure, bring 12 and then you will have enough to fill every slot. So we have 11 now, that's all we need, so we're done with the blaze rods. You're going to want to bring with you some good armor. I have 2 pieces of protection 4. Ideally you would want to bring 4 pieces of protection 4, because the only enchantment that will prevent Enderdragon damage or Enderman damage in vanilla anyway is protection. Now my armor isn't all that well suited to the task, but I'm feeling pretty confident, and having already been to the end once, I kind of know what to expect. So I'm going to go in a little bit less prepared than I should be. We'll see if that comes back to bite me on the backside, but there we are. In addition to that, you're going to need a set of blocks here, and this could be anything really. There is nothing explosive in the end, so it's not going to blow up. But you do pose the risk with the Enderdragon vaporizing any block that the block won't hang around, which is why I'm not bringing anything valuable with me like cobblestone. So you're going to want that. You're going to want a fairly decent pickaxe, but I wouldn't bring your diamond pickaxe if it's very good. Leave diamond tools at home, really, apart from a diamond sword, because you're not going to need them. You won't need a shovel or an axe in the end, as there's no blocks that are mined with either of these two, and I'm just leaving my pickaxes at home because I think they're quite valuable. And block breaker is just a standard iron pickaxe really. I have another one of these if I happen to lose it. So in addition to that, this is perhaps the most important piece of equipment, the bow, and you're going to want a good power bow and an infinity bow if you can. Now if you can't get an infinity bow, then don't worry about it, but you are going to need to bring a lot of arrows with you, and the reason for doing that is because we have to shoot some things as well as shoot the dragon, and that requires a lot of arrows. But if you can get an infinity bow, certainly from my world you're going to have one, or you can use the blaze farm, which we constructed a couple of episodes back, to try and enchant some bows to get your own, and obviously an arrow to power it up. And I would bring a decent sword, preferably bring a sword with fire aspect, because if you happen to aggravate an Enderman in the end, then you can just hit them with this and they will just teleport around all over the place and lose interest on you. So that's what I would recommend bringing. I don't have a fire aspect sword on me at the moment that's worth bringing, so what we're going to do is we're just going to bring my slicer sword here. Now in addition to this, you're going to want a good amount of food obviously. I'm not going to bother with torches, it doesn't really affect anything in the end, so I'm not going to bother with those. You could also bring potions if you're not feeling very confident with fighting the Enderdragon, and we're going to head over to the brewery and pick some up anyway. And in addition to that, if you want to have a bit of a backup supply, you can bring an ender chest with you, just empty it out, put more potions in, or backup armor, or tools, or whatever it is that you really want in there. The disadvantage with that, though, is if the ender dragon goes through it, it will vaporize the ender chest. Now, the items will stay safe inside, but you won't be able to get access to those items. And I'm just going to see what time it is. I want to make sure that I'm getting in bed at the right time before the zombies start hoarding around my home, because they're after Alfred. So, yeah, as far as the ender chest is concerned, bring one if you want to. I would bring more than one if you can. Now, the good idea with that would be to bring a minecart with a chest, and we haven't talked about those yet, but simply put a minecart and a chest together in your crafting grid, and bring a rail with you, put the rail down, and then just right click with the minecart with a chest on top of it, and then ender dragons cannot destroy those. They can only destroy like solid blocks, because the minecart with the chest is classed as an entity. It's not classed as like a block. So you can use one of those if you really want to. Is it getting dark now? Yeah. So we'll be able to sleep past the night. And then we will head over to the brewery, and I'll talk through what potions you're going to need. And finally, one thing to bring is ender pearls. Now, we have no idea where we're going to spawn in the end realm. And the end is a finite island. And what I mean by that is that the end realm is basically a finite mass, so it doesn't stretch on forever like the overworld does and the nether does. Well, technically it's not forever, it's 30 million blocks, but there we go. It's not like that. It's probably only a couple of hundred blocks in width maximum, so potentially we could spawn on an obsidian platform way out in the middle of nowhere. Now, the disadvantage to that is the ender dragon could come and fly around and knock us off, and we don't want that to happen, because we then would fall into what is known as the void. And we haven't talked about the void, but basically what the void is it's a way of dying in the game when you fall below the bottom of the map, which in the end it's exposed. In the nether and the overworld, certainly downwards where you can die, it's blocked by bedrock, so you don't have to worry about it in these two dimensions, but in the end you do. So if we have an ender pearl, though, we have kind of an easy way out, because we can just toss an ender pearl onto the main island, which is a good thing to always try and do. So let's just head in here and see what potions we have. Now, certain potions aren't going to be effective against the ender dragon. Speed is a handy utility potion, and is going to get us over to the stronghold a little faster. What do we have in my box of goodies here? We have some instant health. That's going to be handy for us. Strength, I'm going to leave that one at home. Invisibility won't work against the dragon. Night vision isn't that useful, because you can see in the end anyway. And regeneration could be quite handy. So let's just kind of sort our inventory a little bit here. Let's get our instant health potions kind of at the ready. Right here we want speed next to that. And strength we could put here. Really, regeneration is more of a utility potion. We kind of take it when we want. And we're going to want blocks obviously on the bar too. And we've got our armor, and we've got some other armor on. So that's basically everything we're going to need to prepare to actually go to the end. So, as I was saying, with the ender pearls, it's just a good idea to bring at least one if you can, just in case you happen to spawn on a platform far away from the island. It's always just a good idea to try and avoid that if you can. You don't want to die basically as soon as you get into the end and lose all your stuff, because that's what happens when you die to the void. All of your stuff gets deleted upon death, so you have to remake all new gear. Oh boy. So we don't want that to happen. I'm gonna... Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to take this potion. Oh. Looks already on our side, clearly. So let's get our potions ready and let's head over to the stronghold. And while we're heading over there, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the end and the ender dragon. So we already know that the end is a small island, and that it's kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. And the end realm has no notable uses really. There's not a whole lot there. It's just a dimension inhabited by Enderman and the Ender Dragon. Now, defeating the Ender Dragon is technically how you beat this game, but there is one thing that we are going to the end for that is far more useful than any sort of victory in the game is, and that is to kill the dragon and then build what is known as an Ender. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's basically a very high capacity experience farm. And if you think that the Blaze farm was fast, then you haven't seen an Ender because you can get to level 30, I think, in less than a minute. So it's really handy to have one, and we'll probably look into building one of those next episode. But that's the main reason people typically go to the end now, is to build one of those. As I said, there's not a whole lot there. The end is comprised of a block known as End Stone, and End Stone is a very high blast resistant block. It's the highest of any block that can be destroyed, so it can provide as a good sturdy building material, but it looks pretty ugly at best. So I wouldn't use that as a building material, but it's there if you want to use it. So there's always that. And in addition to that, there is these obsidian spires, and atop the obsidian spires are ender crystals. Now, these are a magical device which regenerate the Ender Dragon's health. So we need to take care of those first, which is why I suggest bringing an infinity bow in case you miss. Wow, still dirt blocks here. It's been a long time since I've been here. These chunks haven't been loaded in over 3 months, so hardly surprises me that we still have stuff kind of like this. So what did I leave in here? Anything useful? 9 chest plate, and that's about it really. Nothing else. I would like to set my spawn here when it gets dark, so that I can, so that if I happen to die in the end, I respawn here. Whoops, and not in the, I believe it will be my cottage bed. We want to spawn as close to the end portal as possible, so that we can make a hasty return there. Now, while ever you're not in the end, if you happen to die, your stuff, if it's fell on the ground somewhere, will not adhere to the 5-minute timer. It only starts the 5-minute timer when you get back to the end. So that's something which is kind of handy to know. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I can say about the end. There will be obviously a wiki page linked down below so you can check out more. I guess while we're waiting, we could put the Eyes of Ender in the frame and we can show how that's done. Because if you remember when we did the Stronghold episode, which was a long time ago, I think it was just before we did the redstone stuff, and I don't remember if I removed the silverfish spawner here. Oh good, I did, so we don't have to worry about that. There's slime down here. Don't know where it's at though. I'm going to block that off because I could do without being harassed by mobs while I'm here. So let's put our Eyes of Ender in the portal frame, and in order to do that, then as you can see one's already placed, simply right click in each slot, and when you do that, it will fill up each slot like so. Now we just have 2 missing, so we'll go ahead and put the last 2 in, and you will get this mysterious black portal. Now we don't want to go in there just yet, we want to go back up to the surface and set our spawn, but that's how you activate the end portal. See here, we want to just climb up, and let's get back on the ladder, and let's head back up to the surface. So the Ender Dragon is the boss mob of the end. It is one of 2 bosses in the game, the other one being the Wither, which we're going to talk about much later in the game, after we built the Ender and so forth. But the Ender Dragon is a tough cookie. He doesn't go down easily. I think technically, according to Notch, though, the Ender Dragon is female, but there we go. So, she doesn't go down easily. She has 200 HP and can deal an attack when you're unarmoured, I believe, of 6 hearts. So, she's very dangerous. You want to avoid her if you can. Stay out of her way. The way she attacks you is by charging at you. Now, if you can avoid those charges, you're going to be fine. It's as simple as that, really. And just shooting her when she charges you will cause damage. Now, providing that you have took out all the ender crystals, that's all well and good. But if you haven't, then she's going to get that health back, which is why we want to take out the crystals first. So, that's pretty much everything I can say as regards that. Now, if you're playing the Xbox version, the Enderdragon boss fight is slightly different. So you would probably want to go and view an Xbox-specific tutorial on that one. Aside from that, really, I can't say too much more about it, because the boss fight is pretty easy if you stay focused. It's not challenging. All you have to do is kind of just remain focused, and the sun's coming down now, so I can sleep in this bed. And if you do that, you will have no problems at all. I'm just going to go ahead and put my good armor on now, and I'm going to toss this spare set in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the end as soon as I set my spawn, and for the rest of this episode it's going to be kind of like watching me fight the Ender Dragon, so that you can hopefully pick up some tips and tricks for fighting your own Ender Dragon. There is only ever going to be one Ender Dragon per world at the moment, unless that happens to change. And when the Ender Dragon dies, that's kind of it. You do get a little reward, and I actually didn't bring a piston with me to collect that reward. We can do that though. Later on I'll go and bring a piston and I'll collect the dragon egg, and I'll show you how that's done. But it's just a one-time fight. There's not too much to it. And as I say, the main reason people head to the end now is to build an Ender for a good source of XP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set my spawn, and I will be right back, guys. Okay guys, so the spawn is now set, and we are ready to head to the end. So let's go down here, and we'll head down the ladder, and I guess now I'll just show you how to fight the dragon. It's going to be as simple as that, really. I've kind of said everything I need to say about it, so let's hop down here, and let's jump into the portal. On a 3, a 2, a 1. Oh, no, I don't want to do it. I'm just kidding. In we go. Okay, so we actually did spawn inside here. Now, the Ender Dragon is still around, and he can still attack us through the blocks like that. So we're going to have to be careful. So let's just get up to the surface, and then we can kind of determine what's going on from there. So this stuff is endstone. And as you can see, there is the Ender Dragon, and welcome to the end. I look at someone. As you can see, it's filled with Endermen. They are just everywhere. Watch out for the dragon. She is a bit of a pain. And as you can see, throughout the end here, there are all these crystals. And oh, no. Ooh, get inside. Now that is what the Ender Dragon can do. We're sort of safe-ish here. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, our stuff is still there, so it's not too much of an issue. That's why I dug that little crevice. The Ender Dragon can do a lot of damage. And we don't really have the best armor suited to the task, so we're going to have to be careful of that. Now, I don't know exactly where that was, but I've got a rough idea. So let's head back to the end. Hopefully we can just avoid... Oh no. That's not good. Ow. Ah. I looked at the Enderman that time. That's what killed me there. We could really do with re-gearing at this point. This is what I don't like doing, and it's chain deathing. But we should be okay. I looked at the Enderman, which ultimately cost me the death that time. So what we need to do now is get our stuff back, avoid the dragon, and avoid looking at Enderman in the process. It should be somewhere down here. I didn't see it, but I know it was in this area. It was at the edge of this cliff. But it was really down low, I believe. Somewhere here. Yeah, here it is. So let's get our equipment back on. Everything's kind of come back into position. And this is why you bring ender pearls. Okay. So now we can head up there. And, whoops. Let's break that. Let's head back to actually fighting this big bad dragon. Now, if the dragon flies out of range, then potentially you're going to have a bit of respite while we can shoot the crystals. So, let me show you how that's done. Here we go. We just need to shoot arrows at the crystals, which is why I recommend an infinity bow. Just keep an eye on what the dragon is doing, so that he doesn't end up knocking you around too much. As you can see, the dragon's over there now. Try and keep him in your field of view. See, he's charging me now. Shooting him will make him disappear. Proving kind of difficult. There we are. Now, if you shoot the dragon while he's hooked up to one of them things, he will take some damage, but he's only going to regen it anyway, so it's kind of... Did I hit that? I think I may have done. So it's kind of... It's a double-edged sword. It depends if it's your last one. Make sure he's out of the way. I aggravated somebody, apparently. I want to be away from that edge. I don't like being near the edge. And I want to try and keep the dragon in my field of view. Let's try. There we are. That one's going to be difficult to get. The tall ones are kind of tricky. Where's the dragon at? I did not get that one. You can climb to the top of the pillar, but you're just asking for fall damage. I'm going to die from that, so I typically don't use that method. We need to go a lot higher than that. There is a fair bit of aim involved in doing it. I wouldn't try and shoot the dragon while he's in flight. We got that one. Because you're never going to hit. I've very, very rarely seen anybody hit. Get out of the way. They ended up hitting me a little bit anyway. That one's going to be tricky. Let's try and get some of the other ones while the dragon is doing his dragony business. Oh, just a bit over. There we go. So the first step really is just taking out all these crystals. There's going to be a lot of them. There we are. And now we need to get this. Oh, that was close. A bit higher. There we are, we've got that one. This one I believe we still need to get, and there's that one up there. There comes the dragon. Let's just go a little higher. Now you can see why I brought an infinity bow. Oh, that was more the bow's bias that I ended up missing there. He looks as if he's about to charge again. He's over there now. Yep, see, about to charge. Just hit him while he's about to charge and he will fly the opposite direction. That one is really hard to get. I don't know about that one. That's really tricky. See if we can get some more of an angle on that. There's still one active up there. Now he does have a bit of a tendency to hang around the ones that are still giving him juice. The tall ones are always the hardest. But we have plenty of bow durability left, so I'm not worried. And if you kind of stick near the middle of the island, then you won't have too many issues. I'm not far away. I just keep kind of over-hitting it, I think. Oh! That was not intentional. Bit higher. It's very hard to judge from this far away, but it's the only way I can get a decent shot on it. Same for that one. I think these are the only two left. I got that one now. Where's the dragon? What's he doing? There we go. We got that one. So now I think that that's all of them. Just going to double check that. No, that one's not still active. So now I don't believe the Enderdragon is getting any juice. So the good thing is the hard bit is now over. Now all it's going to be a case of doing is just shooting him until he dies. I'm not looking at many Endermen. There we are. Now shooting him in the head will do more damage than not doing that. See, I did a lot more damage there with my bow. So he's going to kind of hover around a little bit here, and we're just going to have to keep shooting him mainly. Let's wait for him to do another swan dive. He's going to head over there a bit now. Gone out of range. Let's move back into range. And he can move around very quickly. As you see there, he flew through the obsidian. Looks as if he's about to charge. Nope, not yet. There we go. Come here, big bad dragon. Couldn't get the third shot in there. And it's just going to be a case of doing this, and it's kind of like a game of cat and mouse, basically, until he's died. He's not getting any juice any longer, so I wouldn't worry too much. This is kind of the easy bit. So let's see here. What are you doing, Mr. Dragon? What are you doing? If you can, try and get multiple shots in when he does dive, but don't worry too much if you can't. Providing you have an infinity bow, you won't run out of arrows for one, and the chance of running low on durability, that's pretty slim for the amount of time you're going to be fighting him. I think 30 arrows will be enough with a power 4 bow to kill him outright. I don't keep saying him, I do mean her. It's just how things have happened to come out at the moment. I'm kind of concentrating on the dragon fight to make sure that I'm giving you guys a good tutorial here. See, he has some interesting moves to try and knock you around. That's his main attack, just to knock you around. Now, as I said, the Xbox version, I believe he breathes fire and does a bunch of other crazy stuff. Oh, mid-air flight. So let's see if we can get him to come down again. It's just catching it right in flight, which is very hard to do because you never know where he's going to go, as you can see. So you're best just waiting for him to do a charge, which it looks like he's about to start and do now. Unless you can catch him right above you, then you might be able to get a pop shot in. Come on then, Mr. Dragon, let's get this over with. We all know who's going to win here, and it's not going to be you. Providing I don't run into any angry Endermen. The Endermen are what makes this fight tricky. And as I say, you can wear a pumpkin if you want to. And the pumpkin will obviously prevent Endermen from getting angry at you, but it kind of just obscures your vision, I think, and for me, I just prefer doing it without that. Now, contrary to what people may think, the Endermen do get angry at the dragon, but they don't do any damage. No mobs will do any damage, I don't believe. And the Enderdragon will not lock onto another mob, only you. So, you could bring snow golems and whatnot with you, but it's not worth it. I think that could be more hassle. Ooh, nice shot. So, is he going to make another dive? I'm not too bad at this whole dragon deal. Of course, I missed the shot when he gets closer, but there we go. Ah, this is all about having fun now. There we are. This boss fight isn't too challenging. Once you've got the crystals out of the way, it gets a lot easier. I mean, I'm just I'm just having him for breakfast now, really. We're just kind of waiting on him charging me and whatnot. And I'm just kind of picking him off with the odd arrow here and there now. That was pretty close. While I'm also waiting for him to charge, so I'm doing just that little bit of damage every now and then. But don't feel the need to rush. Take your time with this boss fight. There's no time limit. There's not going to be a bomb go off if you haven't done it within 20 minutes. Do it at what pace feels right for you. That's a good piece of advice I can really give with this fight. It's all about just waiting for the right moment, really. And if you're not comfortable with doing mid-air shots, or you don't have a lot of arrows, just wait for him to charge you. And if you do that, then you won't have any issues. You coming, Mr. Dragon? He's just kind of flying around aimlessly now. As you can see, he's not really doing much of anything anymore. He will be here to charge again in a moment, no doubt. He doesn't have a specific AI to try and avoid you. Once he's low on health, there is no AI in order to do that. The only thing he will try and do is continue to try and charge at you. It's just kind of milling around in the air at the moment. It looks as if he might be ready to make another dive. Right here. Hit him again a little bit there. Now, as far as I'm aware anyway, that's not the case, but it does kind of look like he's trying to avoid us. Oh wait, no, here we go. Oh, you're done. So, once the Enderdragon dies, as you can see, there is a little death animation, and we're going to have a bunch of XP explode out of his body, and we're going to have a portal spawn right here, and this portal will lead us back to wherever our last bed was slept in, and in our case that's the stronghold hut. So this quirky thing right here is the dragon egg, and we'll collect that in a moment. But what the dragon egg is basically like a little trinket, a reward for fighting the dragon. So that's it. It's as simple as that. That is the Enderdragon boss fight. We've beaten the Enderdragon. You get around 74 levels for doing so, so it's pretty cool. But once you have an XP farm, you've spent more XP than that on preparing for this. So now then, I'm going to cut the camera in a moment, and then we'll go and collect the dragon egg, and then we'll call it for an episode, I think. I think we've done quite a lot today. So now you can hop into the end portal, and this will bring up the credits for the end of the game. Now we're not really interested in those, so we can just press ESC, and as you can see here, we will spawn back where the stronghold hut is, and we can just jump in the bed quickly here and pass the night. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fetch a piston, and we'll collect the dragon egg, and then we'll round the episode off there. So I will be right back, guys. Okay, so I've been and got myself a piston, and we're back here in the end. And what you need to do to collect the dragon egg is first cover up the portal, because it has the potential, when touched, to teleport. Now, when it does happen to teleport, it could teleport into the end portal, and then you can never get it back. And we want this as a trinket and whatnot, so this is the first step. Now, if I left-click on this dragon egg, it's just going to teleport wherever, and we don't really want that to happen. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use a piston, and we're going to push it. And what this will do is it will break it as an item. As you can see here, we have the dragon egg, and now we've collected the dragon egg. It's as simple as that. We can collect our piston and lever back, and then we can open up the portal again. A couple of notes about the Enderdragon. It can be damaged with snowballs, albeit very slowly. It's half a heart each time. And that's really about it. There's not a whole lot more to say. Next episode we will... we'll probably build an Ender. We'll get the resources needed to build one of those. Now that the end is ours, we can do what we want with it. And that's going to be to build an Ender. And then from there, we are going to be getting into some of the new features, guys. Notably, we're going to start looking at horses. I want to get into mine carts. There's all that stuff to look at. Mushroom biome, we haven't done that project yet. And especially with the new update coming down the line where we're going to get all these new biomes as well, it's going to be very, very handy to be able to talk to you guys about all these new things. And an Ender is going to enable me to get lots of really, really good gear. And they touch that as soon as they touch the portal and they teleport away. So they won't fall into it. So the Ender is going to be really handy for future tutorials as well, so that I can get my equipment together. So that's what we will work on next episode. I will warn you in advance, it is a big, big project. It's going to require a lot of resources, so just be aware of that. If you don't have the resources, then I would just stick to the Blaze Farm for now. So as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I made this the 75th episode because I wanted it to be quite significant, and I hope that you've enjoyed that, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So until then, see you later, and have a good day. Woo!